Welcome back to Larry Reed's America as we continue our journey through the founding years of our republic, one year at a time, on the road to America's 250th birthday. Today we focus on 1799, a year of sorrow, uncertain, and transition. This was the year George Washington died, closing the final chapter on the life of a man who had guided the United States from revolution to stability. His death cast a long shadow, reminding America of his unmatched role in shaping the nation. Meanwhile, President John Adams continued to grapple with partisan battles, the lingering quasi-war with France, and fierce opposition to the Aliens and Sedition Act. Abroad, the French Revolution was entering the age of Napoleon Bonaparte, altering the balance of power in Europe and reshaping American diplomacy. Let's walk through 1799. On December 14, 1799, George Washington died at his beloved Mount Vernon. He was 67 years old. Days early after riding in the cold rain, he developed a throat infection. Despite the best medical efforts of the time, bloodletting and mixtures that did more harm than good, Washington's condition worsened. Surrounded by family and enslaved workers, he calmly prepared for the end. His last recorded words were, "'Tis well." News of Washington's death shocked the young nation. Bells tolled, cities held mourning ceremonies, and leaders of every political persuasion paused their battles to honor him. Washington became, in death as in life, a unifying figure. Public outpouring of grief in 1799 was unprecedented. Newspapers published tributes, churches held memorials, and Congress passed resolutions of respect. The memory of Washington transcended party lines. Federalists and Republicans alike claimed his legacy, though they disagreed on what it meant. Washington's death reminded Americans of the fragility of their experiment. Could the nation endure without the living presence of its most trusted leader? The answer lay in whether Adams, Jefferson, and the next generation could carry forward this example. While the nations mourned, John Adams remained embroiled in the quasi-war with France. Naval clashes continued in the Atlantic, with American frigates protecting commerce and capturing French ships. The conflict boosted the prestige of the U.S. Navy but kept America on edge. Adams, however, resisted calls from his Federalist allies to escalate to full-scale war. His instincts leaned towards peace and began laying a groundwork for renewed negotiation with France. Across the Atlantic, a seismic change occurred in 1799. Napoleon Bonaparte seized power in France, overthrowing the Directory and established himself as First Consul. His rise reshaped American diplomacy, opening the door for a new relationship with France. Napoleon's ambition was clear, but he also sought stability and trade. For Adams, this presented both risk and opportunity, the possibility of peace, but also the challenge of dealing with an unpredictable new leader. Domestically, Adams' administration still bore the weight of the Alien Seditions Act passed in 1798. Dozens of Republican editors and immigrants faced prosecution, fines, and imprisonment for criticizing the government. Republicans railed against these laws as unconstitutional, rallied public opinion against the Federalists' overreach. Jefferson and Madison, Virginia and Kentucky resolutions continued to circulate, arguing that states could resist unconstitutional federal laws. By 1799, the acts became a powerful political weapon for the opposition. The political atmosphere in 1799 was more toxic than ever. Federalists accused Republicans of being tools of France and enemies of order. Republicans accused Federalists of betraying liberty and building a monarchy in disguise. The partisan press inflamed passions with newspapers on both sides spreading rumors and character attacks. Ordinary Americans were drawn into the fight as political clubs, town meetings, and even church congregations became arenas of partisan debate. John Adams often found himself isolated in 1799, distrusted by Hamilton Federalists and despised by Republicans, but his stubborn independence defined his presidency. He pushed back against Hamilton's desire for war with France and refused to let his administration be controlled by party bosses. Adams was prickly, sensitive, and sometimes abrasive, but he remained committed to what he believed was best for the Republic, even if it cost him politically. Away from the capital, America continued to expand westward. Settlers poured into Kentucky, Tennessee, and the Ohio Valley. Native nations resisted, but treaties and military pressure pushed them further from their lands. In 1799, Kentucky and Tennessee were firmly established as states, and migration westward symbolized the restless energy of the Republic, yet expansion with the injustice of displacement and entrenchment of slavery in new territories. 1799 drew to a close. Both parties were already preparing for monumental election of 1800. Adams planned to run for re-election, but division with the Federalist Party, especially between Adams and Hamilton, threatened his strength. Jefferson and the Republicans, meanwhile, capitalized on anger over the Alien Sedition Acts and Federalist policies. The stage was set for one of the most bitter and consequential elections in American history. Though Washington's death dominated the year, his legacy provided guidance to the nation. His farewell address still echoed, avoid entangling alliances, resist faction, cherish unity. Americans struggled to live up to these ideals, but Washington's example gave them a standard to measure themselves against. 1799 was not just the end of a life, it was the closing of the revolutionary generation's first chapter. The Republicans were now in the hands of Adams, Jefferson, Hamilton, and others, men who lacked Washington's unifying president, but who would shape the nations nonetheless. Well, we had some flaws, and we had some good things. Partisan division reached dangerous levels with little room for compromise. The Alien and Sedition Acts continued to undermine liberty and tarnish Federalist credibility. Expansion westward came at a great cost to Native peoples and deepened the divide over slavery. The nation, though, endured crisis, celebrated naval victories, and began moving towards peace with France. But Washington's death and partisan rancor left the republic fragile and uncertain. I have to give 1799 a grade of B minus. Lot of good things, a lot of bad things. A sad day for the country when Washington died, but we're still getting there. We're getting along, and that's it for 1799. The year the father of this country passed into history, and the republic faced the test of going on without him. Washington's calm dignity had guided America through its infancy. His absence left a void no one could truly fill. John Adams struggled to hold the middle ground, caught between war and peace, between Federalist hawks and Republican critics. Meanwhile, the people of the United States mourned their greatest leader, even though they prepared for the most contentious election in America's short history. 1799 reminds us that nations are built not only by the living, but also by the legacy of those who came before. Washington's example still stands as a guide, a reminder of what leadership, sacrifice, and integrity look like. And that's the story of 1799, another step in our countdown to 250. Thanks for listening. God bless you. God bless the United States of America. And I will talk to you on the next podcast.